They opened a coffin because of a dog's bark. What they found inside will shock you. Detective Lucas Morgan's funeral was held on a gray, drizzly afternoon, the kind that seemed to soak into the bones of everyone in attendance. His colleagues, friends, and family gathered at the cemetery, their hearts heavy with grief. Among them was Shadow, his loyal canine partner, who had been by Lucas's side through thick and thin. The black German shepherd sat solemnly near the casket, his ears twitching occasionally, as if listening for a sound only he could hear. Lucas had been a decorated officer, known for his sharp instincts and unwavering commitment to justice. His sudden death in a violent shootout with a notorious gang had left a deep wound in the police department. Shadow had been injured in the same incident but had made a miraculous recovery. Now, he was here, bidding farewell to the man who had been more than just a handler, he had been his best friend. As the priest spoke solemn words of remembrance, a sudden, sharp bark cut through the somber silence. Shadow had leaped to his feet, his fur bristling as he let out a deep, guttural growl. His eyes were locked onto the casket, and he barked again, louder this time. The crowd murmured in confusion. Shadow had always been a disciplined dog, trained to remain calm in the most chaotic situations. But now, he seemed frantic, almost desperate. "Easy, boy," one of the officers whispered, reaching for the dog's collar. But Shadow yanked himself free, rushing toward the casket and pawing at it aggressively. The police chief, an older man with years of experience under his belt, furrowed his brow. "Get the dog under control," he ordered. "This isn't the time for theatrics." But Shadow wouldn't stop. His barking turned into an urgent whine, and he began scratching furiously at the wood, his nails digging into the polished surface. Lucas's mother, Evelyn, clutched her chest. "What's wrong with him?" she asked, her voice trembling. Another officer, Sergeant Daniels, exchanged a wary glance with his colleagues. "I don't know, but I've never seen Shadow act this way before." A murmur spread through the crowd. Finally, Lucas's brother, David, took a deep breath and spoke up. "Open it." The police chief's eyes widened. "David, I understand your grief, but—" "Open it," David repeated firmly. "Something isn't right." The hesitation in the air was palpable. The chief sighed and gave a reluctant nod. "Fine. But be prepared. The injuries were severe. It won't be easy to see." Two officers stepped forward, gripping the casket lid and slowly lifting it open. The moment they did, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Evelyn let out a blood-curdling scream and stumbled backward, clutching at her heart. David's face turned ashen. Officers immediately drew their weapons, their eyes widening in horror. The man lying inside the casket was not Lucas Morgan. Shadow, now silent, sat down and wagged his tail slightly, as if satisfied that his message had finally been understood. Chaos erupted. Officers scrambled to secure the area while others frantically radioed the precinct. The funeral was called to an immediate halt as the police chief ordered an urgent investigation. Within hours, disturbing truths began to emerge. On the night of the shootout, 2 critically wounded officers had been brought to the hospital, one had succumbed to his injuries, and the other had been placed in a medically induced coma. But in the confusion, their identities had been switched. The hospital staff, overwhelmed and exhausted, had mistakenly declared Lucas dead while his unconscious colleague, Officer Dean Hall, had been prepared for burial instead. Meanwhile, Lucas had been fighting for his life in a hospital bed, unaware that the world had already mourned him. When the officers rushed to the hospital to confirm the shocking revelation, they found Lucas still in a coma, his body slowly recovering from the trauma of his injuries. The realization sent waves of shock through the department. How had such a catastrophic mistake happened? Who had failed to verify the bodies properly? And most importantly, how much time had been lost believing Lucas was dead? As the investigation continued, Lucas miraculously regained consciousness 2 weeks later. Though weak, he was devastated to learn about his colleague's death but was also overwhelmed with gratitude for Shadow, who had somehow known the truth all along. After months of rehabilitation, Lucas returned to the force, with Shadow at his side, more inseparable than ever. The department tightened its protocols to ensure such a mistake would never happen again. But to Lucas, the most important lesson was clear: sometimes, the bond between a man and his dog was stronger than any logic, and if Shadow hadn't spoken up, he might have been lost forever. As the sun began to set over the cemetery, the air still thick with the echoes of shock and disbelief, one truth stood undeniable: Shadow had saved his partner yet again. What seemed like an ordinary funeral had unraveled into a revelation that no one could have anticipated. The loyalty of a dog had shattered the veil of a tragic mistake, proving that sometimes, instinct and devotion can uncover truths that even the sharpest minds overlook. In the days that followed, Lucas Morgan's return from the dead became a story whispered in every precinct, a cautionary tale that highlighted the fragile nature of human error. The department initiated an internal review, and new protocols were enforced to prevent such misidentifications from ever happening again. The hospital staff, though remorseful, had to answer for their mistakes. It was a harsh reminder that in the chaos of emergency situations, a single lapse in judgment could change lives forever. But amidst the whirlwind of investigations, press coverage, and administrative reforms, one thing remained steadfast: Shadow's unwavering faith in his partner. The moment Lucas was strong enough to walk on his own, the first thing he did was kneel beside his loyal companion, running a hand through the thick black fur, whispering words of gratitude that could never fully encapsulate what the dog had done for him. Shadow, as always, simply wagged his tail, as if to say, "I knew you'd come back." Months later, Lucas returned to active duty, his bond with Shadow stronger than ever. Together, they continued their mission to serve and protect, their partnership now carrying an unshakable legacy, a reminder that sometimes, the greatest heroes walk on four legs. And that brings us to the end of this incredible story. If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, then please don't forget to support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.